When I was a child, my mom used to bring me to a nearby playground. I was 6 at the time. I remember how much I loved it and waited with anticipation to go there. One particular day, we went to the playground. My mom brought me, and I remember playing. There were many other kids there too. I slid on the slides and did all the usual child stuff. Suddenly, there was a car crash nearby. I didn't know what it was back then, but my mom went to check on the people to see if they were okay and to call an ambulance. As I was playing, there was this man. If I remember correctly, he was in his mid-40s or 50s. He had a long beard and was bald, wearing a shredded shirt with pieces missing. He said to me, "Do you love cartoons and candy?" I remember feeling enthusiastic. What child doesn't love movies and candy? I said, "Yes." He replied, "Come to my car. I even have pizza." I went with him without even thinking. This was 1995. There were no cell phones back then. So I entered his car, and he started to drive. I asked him, "What about my mom?" He said, "She will come later, don't worry." I said, "Okay," and asked him about the candies. "How much do you have?" He smiled with a grin and said, "Many. You can't even imagine." I was startled, trying to understand how much he had. We finally arrived at his house. It was a small house, but not in good shape. Clearly, he didn't take care of it. I had a gut feeling all the time, but it was overwritten by my joy for sweets and cartoons. I remember we entered his house. I asked him about the candy and cartoons. He came back with a full bowl of candy. I immediately jumped on them and started watching cartoons. Hours passed and I dozed off. The next morning, I woke up. He gave me food and everything I wanted. I wanted to eat candy again and asked him, but he said, "Not now. Later." I asked him, "Where is my mom? When is she going to come and pick me up?" He looked at me and didn't say a word, only muttered, "Hope soon." Day 2 came. I was feeling uneasy and started asking him many questions. I remember one in particular. "Are you a bad guy?" He replied quietly, "Remember, people aren't good or bad. They are somewhere in the middle." I didn't mind much at the time, but I was starting to miss my mom. I asked him again. He said, "If they obey what I say, they will come soon." I said, "Okay," and another day went by. On the 3rd day, I told him, "I want to see my mom." He said, "Your mom can't come right now," but he was frustrated. I could hear it in his voice. I started crying. He tried to calm me down with candy and stuff, but I kept crying. Then he handed me a receiver from his rotary household phone. I said, "Hello," and I heard my mom's voice, shaking and scared, saying, "Are you okay? Where are you?" She was crying. Before I could answer, he grabbed the receiver back out of my hands and said, "That's enough." He continued the conversation himself. I was scared. I heard my mom cry. I asked him why she was crying, but he didn't say anything back. The 4th day came. I wasn't feeling good. I wanted to see my mom so badly. I was crying when, luckily, I heard a sound. It was sirens, though I didn't know it back then. The police broke down the front door and arrested him immediately. My mom was there too. I remember she sprinted toward me with tears in her eyes and hugged me so tightly for what felt like 5 minutes, saying, "My baby." I was joyful and went home. Later, when the police interrogated him, they learned he needed money for his brother's operation so badly. He didn't want to lose his brother, his only family left, but he tried to solve it in an unconventional way. When the police asked him why he targeted me instead of other kids, he said it was because we had a lot of assets. My family was upper income. My grandfather had a lumber business at the time, and we never struggled financially. His desperate attempt to save his brother made his own future forever stained.